people maybe?
Yeah.
Remember the beginning scene and also the ending scene where Leonardo DiCaprio met Ken Watanabe? And they met in this sumptuously decorated golden hall with colorful motifs of hawks and pine trees and palms. Well, that kind of architectural interior, you're looking at the exact prototype of that. This type of room, called Shoin, is literally a study room that derived from Buddhist temple architecture prior to before 15th century. And during the Momoyama period, which is sort of 15th and 16th century, there's a need to expand the room. So this is virtually a reception room of powerful warlords or important abbots at Buddhist temples to receive equally important guests. Now, how would you impress your guests with your wealth, power, and knowledge of classical antiquity? You would decorate it very sumptuously. Now, there are grass mats flooring all over, and even the fusuma panels, the sliding doors called fusuma in Japanese, are sprinkled with gold. Or as you've seen in the movie Inception, they're actually gold-ground, colorful paintings all over them. So they're really a symbol of power and high culture. Now look at the gold leaves behind here. People who are over this side should probably move over at the gold foils. Those squared gold foils over there, they're a very typical gold ground for painting as well. And that would be the type you would see in Inception if you do see it. And then another reason you have to see is because these rooms really don't do the gold just, because these lights are dimmed for protecting the very fragile material. But you really have to see the Golden Hall full lit and its full glamour. And that movie actually does a very wonderful job of that. For those of you who've come to the previous exhibition, you will remember there's a large plum tree over there. And that was directly replicated into that movie. That was done by Kano Sansetsu, an important Kano artist who were summoned by the shoguns to decorate interiors. And I want to point to this specific architectural element, this raised alcove called tokonoma. Originally, it was a table to display flower arrangements or offerings in Buddhist temples, but then as the shogun's appreciation of Chinese antiquity and art began to expand, they expanded this area and raised it, and above which you would see precious paintings come through, like in this one. And as I mentioned, in Inception, there's another painting of hawks and pines. They're done by the artist called Kano Tanu, who did the triptych here. I want people on this side to actually see the painting triptych, or you can maybe circulate among yourselves to see them, because they're really wonderful. And I'm about to show you a trick of ink painting. So we see here two landscape paintings flanking a central figure, Shen Nong, who's the legendary sage king from China who brought people medicine as well as agriculture. Now notice these two landscape paintings. They're depicting very specific seasons. So can anyone who hasn't read the label yet identify which seasons are depicted in these two hanging scrolls? Yeah, some people are saying there's winter on the left. And what about the other one?
Summer.
You probably couldn't see it very well. Yeah, it's summer, but very close. And notice how the artist depicted the effects and atmospheric qualities, characteristics of these two seasons without actually doing too much. Notice the top of the mountain. Please come forward and look at the. You can come over here. I don't need to look at it.
Oh my.
Notice how for the snow landscape, you see the artist left the mountaintop blank, but added very wonderful ink washes around it to indicate this kind of atmosphere that you would normally associate with winter. And on the summer landscape, he simply negates the light and dark. So you see very clear sky, but you see clear textures on the mountain. So by simply doing that, he's showing you two seasons. And of course, there are other objects to help you how he's able to give the definition of volume and season and this very sensibility of them just through leaving things blank and using very simple brushstrokes. And as you can see, the landscape paintings are very corner-rated, and this is a specific type inspired by Southern Song Chinese tradition in painting. Instead of you have a large monumental scale, you have just one corner, so it's very delightful to look at. Now, any questions? Yeah, they would sit on the floor, and that's actually a very nice question because the mounting of Japanese scrolls are usually narrower than Chinese ones, because in Chinese interiors there will be tables and chairs, so you sort of will proportion the painting and their mounting to match the interior. And for Japanese interior, there are no seats and there are no similar architectural elements like that, so they also sort of tame down the scale of that.
Do those tassels have a purpose or meaning? The tassels that are hanging on
Oh, the
the
tassels,
roof?
I think they're purely for decoration purposes. Yeah. A mixture of textile. These were not original. This construction is made in 1985 using material and technique authentic to the period, but they don't date from that period. They're using the same material.
And how big period is this room?
Sorry?
How big period is the room we're watching?
This would be the Momoyama period. The Momoyama period from 15th century to 16th century. Okay, as I said, the Kano artists who did the old plum over there in the previous collection, and the Kano Tanyu here, they both belong to the same family, and I really can't think of any parallel of this family because they sort of monopolize art patronage for 300 years. They have different ateliers in major cities in Japan. They have ateliers in Kyoto and in Edo, which is modern-day Tokyo. So they really cater to various strata of society. Now, beginning in Edo period, which is 17th century, there began to be a bunch of artists who are eccentric to act in reaction to the Kano orthodox. And this is one example of that. Please come over and look at it. Most of the time he claimed he is, but he's sort of trying to manipulate this reputation to help sell his painting. Because people have this appreciation for bizarreness, like, and you know, alternatives to the orthodox. And he even went so far to claim that he's a descent from the Ming Dynasty emperor in China, which obviously